Well, it's time for a change now.
No hesitation. Tune in, yo. Ace's motivation. It's all about your will. When your enemy is weak, go for the kill.
Alrighty, we are here with Zee the Cook. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for coming out. I know it's hard for you, so we appreciate it. We're here with Zee the Cook for Shotcast episode 11, and today we're here to talk about, taking opportunities as they arise with Zee the Cook, who's somebody who took an opportunity and made it something big. And actually, it's a funny story of how I know Zee the Cook. I was actually trying to meal prep myself. I got her number from somebody, and they gave me her Instagram, and I went and checked it out. And she had a lot of good-looking food on there, and I hit her up, and she started helping me meal prep, and I automatically started losing weight, and I was bothering her, texting her 6-7 times a day, asking her for, advice, and am I going to lose weight, and how much am I going to lose, and I was bothering her, and she was, very helpful with me, and she helped me with the meal prep. And at the time, I think you had like a couple thousand followers on Instagram. You were only making food when I seen it. I didn't know you were doing anything else. And then we kind of lost connection later on when I stopped meal prepping. But a couple years later, I went through your Instagram and you have, 30,000 followers about. You're doing a lot of things, not just meal prepping. You're doing meal prepping. Now you're doing, you're going out to like big companies and catering.
Definitely, yeah. So we're actually
Also
doing
a lot of things with the kids,
the cooking
right?
classes
Yeah.
and the cooking workshops. We do corporate team building events, food service right now at Ford Motor Company. And we have some great contracts coming up for 2020. So we actually have a lot going on in the industry.
Awesome. So I brought you on the show today because you took advantage of an opportunity. You made it into something huge. And you're doing great things right now, and I'm proud of you. And I know a lot of people are inspired by what you're doing.
Thank you.
And it doesn't come easy, especially for, Arab American woman who came here with nothing and made it into something. So just why don't you talk about your journey and how it all started and how you got to where you are now?
Sure. So, as I had mentioned to you before, I've been working since I was 14 years old. I actually enjoy working. I like being active. I'm one of those people who really likes to live life to the fullest. So due to the fact that I was constantly working and on the go since I was younger, I never really gave myself that chance to stop kind of and take a little break.
Yeah.
So that kind of got forced on me in my early 20s.
Where were you working when you were 14? That's early to work.
I was actually working as a secretary at a little real estate office at the time. And thank God it was actually a family real estate office. So it was easy to get myself in the door and get started somewhere. But, being in the administrative field at a young age taught me a lot about customer service and dealing with people. So that was a really good jump start to whatever was coming. And I actually went from working at a real estate agency to a floral company and then to United Airlines and their reservations. And I have lots of experience in the medical field as well. I actually went to nursing school. So all these great experiences, I feel as an entrepreneur, it's what you call life school. I feel like I went to life school.
Yeah.
And I'm just one of those people who likes to work. So I went straight into the work field rather than the other end, which, it's nothing bad about being, going to school. Of course, going to school is so important.
Yeah.
But I just loved working.
Okay.
And so I worked for a long time and I tried new things out to see where I feel most comfortable. And when I finally told myself that I really needed a break, I took the break. And I took the break. I stayed home. And I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of different workshops and just got to know a little bit of like art and painting and things like that. But along this small break, I found a new passion, which I never knew existed, that I was really good at cooking. So I started to have more time in the kitchen and more time getting creative with the ingredients that I would go shopping for. And that really inspired me to just start doing something that I love, right? And a really good friend of mine suggested that I teach people how to cook or get somewhere in this industry.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to share that. And so I had a good following on social media, around 500 followers at the time, just kind of watching the different foods that I was cooking each day. And they were asking me for recipes. And I told them that I did not have any recipes because I just cooked to be creative, cooked from the heart.
Yeah.
And so I said, I will. I'll just teach this in person and you can take down the notes. So it just started off with like a simple gesture of giving back and helping people achieve some great results.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How old were you when you took that break?
I was about 26.
And what was the reason for the break? Was it just like...
You know what? So I went into nursing school and I discovered while I was at the hospital, you know what? This is not something that's going to be good for me. I'd rather walk away now than invest all this time and energy into all the testing that has to be done and the money that gets involved in that. And so I knew then that it wasn't something that I was going to pursue. So when I stopped it, I said, before I make any more decisions in my life, let me take a little break and make sure I make the right decisions moving forward, you know? So that break was kind of forced on me in that sense. And
cool.
Yeah.
And how much time did you take off?
I took off a good 9 months.
Wow.
It was it was a nice 9 months. During that year actually was my marriage. So I had gotten married that year and we had moved into our house, and this new house, you know, gave me the space I needed to just be alone and to learn and to grow and to find myself, you know.
So you found your passion was cooking.
I found it, yeah.
And the only reason you found that is because you got a chance to take a break.
Yes.
Had you have never took that break and kept working, maybe you would have never started the cooking.
I don't think I would have ever
Wow.
known that I was good at, at this. And I think that when it goes back to Zee the Cook and my brand, my brand isn't just about cooking, but it's about helping others and improving the quality of life for any of my customers. So there is a little bit of that nursing aspect where I can still nurse people, but through the food that we're making, right?
Which is important.
And then the creativity from the experience I had at the floral shop, the florist, that creativity comes into the work that I do. And then the customer service that I learned from the real estate agency and the United Airlines, all of those played a big role in the overall results of Zee the Cook.
Awesome.
You know? So
everything connects. That's my favorite shotcast I did.
know.
Yeah. It's been crazy. Ever since I started saying that, it's
everything connects, and it leads you during the journey.
You start paying attention to every single move you make
100%.
because you never look at this. I want the meal prep. Imagine that person never gave me your number. Like this wouldn't be happening right now.
That's right.
So it's just crazy how things come into fruition, which is great. So you found your passion, which was cooking. Then at what point did you say, okay, I'm done with nursing. This is what I want to do? Like, how did that happen?
It's kind of like a feeling that came to me in a way. You know, I started to feel like I don't see myself doing this. I've always wanted to also own my own business. So I've known that from a young age that one day I will own my own business. So I just didn't know when it was going to come, you know. So when I took that break and people started to ask for my recipes, all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was saying cooking classes coming soon. Even though I did not have a building, I did not have my customers, I didn't have anything. I just put it out into the world and it kind of manifested. So I put a post out that said cooking classes coming soon, got amazing feedback, and then with all that feedback I'm like, oh no, what am I supposed to do now? I promised them that I was going to do cooking classes, and so I got to do it from home. And so I started with what I had. I had one stove, I had one table with 8 chairs around it, and I started to teach private classes and private cooking classes. And after 2 years of doing cooking classes and workshops for kids and teenagers and adults from bakeries, I would rent out space at bakeries, I would rent out space at supermarkets, and I would do it from home. After those 2 years, saved up all the money that I could save up and finally got my own location. So for the last 2.5 years, I've been in my own location. And, once you have your own location, now bigger opportunities will rise. So we are doing school field trips, corporate team building events for employees who get together to do something fun outside of the office to grow their relationships. And that's been amazing. And due to the fact that we've been in the culinary studio, we won the Entrepreneurship of the Year award.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. And from that came my opportunities with Ford Motor Company.
Nice. So you said a lot of important things, and a lot of things that connect me back to old podcasts and old videos that we've done. One thing that's important is that you found your passion while you were taking a break from your full-time career that you thought you were going into. So anyone listening, it's important to know that you have to give yourself that time to find your passion sometime, 100%. Because maybe you don't even know what your passion is. You would have never knew if you never took a break, right? Then you also said that you put it out there into the world, which is, the law of attraction 2.0. Like you said what was going to happen. You didn't have a place, but you said cooking classes coming soon. You got good feedback, and cooking classes happen. So sometimes when you want something, you just have to throw it out there, right?
That's so true. You don't have to have it all figured out.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of people actually fail because they wait for everything to be perfect before they get started.
Yeah.
Sometimes that never even happens. So I always say to everyone, get started with what you have. Don't give up on your dreams just because you don't have all the resources you need to get started. Do what you can and just make it happen.
Yeah, because while you're doing, you're going to be learning, and then more doors are going to open because you're doing.
100%, yes.
But if you sit there waiting until things are perfect, like it's never going to be.
No.
You could have said, "Oh, I don't want to do it in my house. Let me wait till I have money for a studio." Then 5 years later, you never had money for a studio, and it went away. But because you did it in your house, you saved the money to open up a studio
100%.
and get the thing started. So that connected to something else. So it started off with cooking classes, and that you said that connected to getting an award,
parties.
and now private parties to big companies like Ford. And
So after we did the cooking classes and workshops, we started to do birthday party events, family reunions. We did one for a family every year for the last 4 years, every December, which is amazing because these family members come together from different states, and they all meet up at Zee the Cook every December.
That's awesome.
And they do their amazing relationship building, their reunion. They cook together and eat together. So imagine that kind of feeling, that I have just being able to be part of that journey and that memory with them. So being able to change people's lives for the better, being able to empower kids to become future leaders. I mean, that's what Zee the Cook is all about, is empowering others and building relationships.
Yeah.
And thank God it's been recognized, and that's why we got that award this year. So I'm very blessed.
Awesome. So you started off cooking for people. How did it turn into like a vision to make kids better, and like how did that start?
That actually naturally happened. I feel like it was something that was meant for me to do in life. As I started to work with the kids and teens, I started to discover that, wow, I actually have the power to help someone raise their self-esteem. I have the power to help someone become more confident in themselves. I have the power to make people smile and happy.
Yeah. So
when I started to realize the power of a human with another human, it's so powerful, it's so empowering, and at the end of the day, those kids go home so happy, begging their parents to come back. I mean, what more can I really ask for,
That's awesome. And then that turned into more like now birthday parties and like kids events and camps.
Whenever schools are closed, we're open.
Yeah.
We open for the parents who have work or have things to do, and they need their kids to be in a safe and healthy environment.
Yeah.
So, the kids come, they cook their own breakfast, their own lunch every day.
Yeah.
We teach them about teamwork and, anti-bullying and how to be good friends with people. So we try to really instill in them positive activities, positive workshops that will help them be better people overall.
And not only for kids, you said you're doing that now for big companies and staffs.
Yes,
you're doing
we just had
team
Bosch.
building activities.
Yeah, we just had a Bosch, and we have the executive team from GM coming next week, and we're working with bigger companies. We had the Ford Motor Company executive team come in from Fordland, and so what we do with them is we bring everyone out of their comfort zones at work. Not that they're not comfortable. We bring them from their workplace where they're so used to seeing their coworkers there, and we put them in a new environment at Zee the Cook where they're around food. And what happens with food is, yes, it brings people together, but when you actually cook the food together, not only does it bring you together, but it actually brings up your past. You start to talk about your mom or your grandmother or your family's heritage or their culture. And this is like, you can have someone who is of, different diversities, different cultures coming together around the table and sharing stories of their childhood together, which eventually helps the relationship grow.
Correct,
and when they go back to work, they're more productive, they're more connected.
Gotcha. It's like painting with a twist, but cooking with a twist.
Correct.
Cooking with Zee.
Yeah, cooking with Zee the Cook.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. So right now, you're doing a lot right now. You're hosting, kids events, you're doing cooking for kids, cooking for staffs, you're doing meal prep still.
Helping people achieve healthier lifestyles.
You're doing catering.
Correct.
Anything else I'm missing, or is that everything?
That's good for now.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to juggle.
We're going to be traveling really soon globally.
Wow. Okay.
And building some new contracts.
Cool. So I'd have to ask. You're a family woman, right?
Correct. I am a mom.
You're a mom, right? You have a family yourself. How are you doing it? How are you juggling it all? With taking care of your kids, working. It's not like you're just doing one thing. Zee the Cook's now diverse. It's like 4 or 5 different things and contracts and people, and you do a lot on your own.
That's right.
How do you juggle it all?
Help, a lot of help, you know, and a lot of it is hired help. You
Yeah.
have to pay the price, right?
Yeah,
You have to pay
yeah.
the price when you're successful. And, you know, I have a full-time nanny. She comes over
Cool.
every day, and, you know, she helps take over while mom is out and about running the show, right? I do as best as I can with what I have, again,
Yeah.
with as being a mom, right?
Yeah.
So I do my best to take the kids to school and then pick them up,
Yeah.
so that during the daytime I know I can go to work and the nanny's home with the toddler. I have a 2-year-old at home, and so she kind of, you know, picks up that part of the responsibility. And then my evenings, I do have evening events as well, so
Yeah.
I'm constantly running around. So if I'm leaving the house at 7 o'clock in the morning, coming home at 4, checking in on the kids and the family, and then in the evening I'll either have family help me with the kids,
Yeah.
or, you know, I engage the kids in whatever I'm doing as much as I
Okay.
can. If I can take them with me to my studio and have them engage in their own little, like, you know, quiet room while I'm hosting an event, that's awesome. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
So I think that's the luxury of being a business owner.
Yeah.
That's the pros to it, is that you're in charge of your life. You're
Yeah.
in charge of your schedule.
Yeah.
You can make your own decisions, you know?
And you could combine the two work life
And you
together.
can combine the two,
Yeah.
exactly. There's times where, like, my husband will say on the weekends, you know, I need you to be home, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a challenge. That's
Yeah.
a challenge because a lot of what I do is on the weekends. You
Yeah.
know, that's when people want to host their kids' birthday parties. That's when, you know, families want to go do something fun together. So I
Yeah.
do host family workshops, and it's
Yeah.
usually weekends. So imagine that I'm there with their families, but not with my own.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that really catches up to you, you know? So when it comes to a business, I know people see the success, but they don't see what's happening behind the scenes. And, you know, my advice to anyone is, even though it's going to be hard, you can still get through it. You know, there's a lot of understanding that has to happen in your family life. You have to discuss,
Yep.
you know, your journey with your kids and your husband, and make them part of it as much as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So you're not differentiating the two.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'm gonna get to the tough times. It's actually on my agenda today,
Oh,
so
okay.
hold that thought for me, but, because it's important for people to know the tough times. But
Of
before we get
course.
into that, how do you manage your time? Like, how do you like? For me, I structure out my calendar every single morning.
Sure.
I plan out my day the night before, and on Sunday I plan out my week, and then everything
Wow.
just kind of lines up. So that way, on Monday morning, I don't got to think about shit. I just wake up
Really?
and everything's planned out for the week.
I need to do that.
Even the weekends, I like plan my like family breakfast. So I can see my like I try to fit everything in like blocks, you know.
That's
playing
the way to do
Tetris.
it. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it. I wish I did it that way.
Also, free time. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to plan free time. Like, if I want Sunday to have a couple hours free time, from 3 to 6 is free time. That means I could either see my friends, I could watch a movie, but
Oh,
I could
wow.
decide those kind of
And
things.
do you actually structure that on your schedule?
I definitely structure that. Yeah, and I
Wow.
knock out like 80-90%. You know,
Wow.
like Jordan Peterson, I talked about him in one of the other podcasts, but
Mm-hmm.
he talks about people think a calendar is a prison, and it's not a prison. It's only a prison if you make it a prison,
Sure.
because you control your own calendar. So you could schedule your leisure. Like, if I do A, B, and C, then I could play with my kids and take them to the park or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. That's how you make everything work.
Exactly. You incentivize it and reward yourself. Do you have any structure for the way you plan out your days or weeks? Because you got you're pretty busy woman.
Yeah, so I mean, aside from what's already scheduled on my calendar due to, you know, meetings with people, meetings with clients, booking private events, or even, you know, a lot of what we do is very personalized and specific. So at Zee the Cook, for example, there's no set hours. It's
Yeah.
all according to what our classes are, you know, what classes we're hosting during the day or in the evening. So for me personally, I wish that I could do what you do. I wish that I could, but I don't want to say it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's just that I kind of wing it
Yeah.
each day. And
Yeah.
I think that's the only way that I can function,
Yeah.
is to kind of wing things. And it's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I end up feeling overwhelmed at times. And I feel
Yeah.
like if it was structured, I could avoid that.
You could at least take the
overwhelming
thought
feeling.
process out about thinking about what's going to happen, who's going
Sure,
to call. Like,
sure.
if you have just that plan, maybe you start planning in advance and selling out, pre-selling.
Yes.
Like, those are some things you could think about to
Oh,
help
yeah,
you
of course.
in the future, which is good. So let's get to the grits of it. People see, they might say, oh, she got lucky, she started cooking, or
Oh my
she hit
gosh.
Instagram at the right time. Yeah, people, some people envy and like they go straight to the negative side, like, oh, that person's doing that because this, and this. I mean, I truly respect your hustle. I know it takes hard work because I've been there and I'm there right now.
Sure.
But what were some of the hard times you had to face? I mean, I know you faced some adversity starting in your kitchen, off an idea. What's like the hardest time you had to face throughout this journey, and how did you get through it?
You know, the hardest thing is the highs and lows.
Yeah.
Not having that consistent high. So, you know, every company has like their high seasons and low seasons. And I think that for me, I don't really like that. I
Yeah.
want to constantly be
Yeah.
in high season. So I'm constantly striving. What can I do differently this month? What can
Yeah.
I do differently during the springtime to make work more, you know, productive? And so for me, a big challenge has been being able to constantly be productive and, you know, making the money we need
Yeah.
to provide more programs and to do more and renovate, you know, the business itself sometimes, you know. So it's just sometimes not knowing what to expect, you know.
Yeah.
Some companies you can put targets. You can say, all right, we need to reach $7,000 in
Yeah.
this week, you know. But for me, it's not always that way.
Yeah.
I have to kind of go with the seasons and what's happening, and you know, kids and teens are in school during the day,
Yeah.
whereas companies are like very busy at certain times. So for me, it's like I play around everyone else's seasons
Yeah.
and ups and downs,
Yeah.
you know. And then another thing, of course, is being the mom and,
Yeah.
and being able to juggle the business aspect
Yeah.
and then the kids and the
Yeah.
house and.
So do you attack the businesses, or do they come to you as far as
That's a
the
good
majority of your
question.
business?
A lot of my business is actually word of mouth.
Okay.
Thank God that we've been able to impact people to the point where they've become our free marketers.
Yeah.
So because we've given, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 kids such a great experience, now all of a sudden they go back to school the next day talking all about Zee the Cook.
Yeah.
And everyone now wants to know, what's Zee the Cook and when can we go there?
Yeah.
And so they go back and tell their parents, hey, my friends went to Zee the Cook yesterday, sign us up. So it's amazing to see how the community has, you know, worked hand in hand for me. And it's like, wow, all I've done is really do my best and give
Yeah.
you the best that I could.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we have such a strong community where people talk to people. And,
Yeah.
you know, when things are going good, they talk about it. And if things aren't going good, they also talk about it.
course.
So thank God that we've been able to keep everything in the spotlight in positive ways. And so a lot of it's been word of mouth. And then,
Yeah.
of course, social media, as
Cool.
you know.
Cool. So I mean, it seems like everything's coming from like word of mouth or marketing as far as
Yes.
social media. People are just seeing you and
Even
coming to you.
companies, right?
Yes.
If the companies come for a corporate team building and they know someone else who works at a different
Yeah.
company, hey, well, our company was at Zee the Cook. We did a team building and it was awesome. Your company should do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's
I
been
don't think you
great.
should ever have a slow season because you haven't even started.
Right.
If it's if you need to do it, maybe
In the
you-
past, it used to be that way. Not anymore. Thank God. Thank
yeah,
God. Thank
maybe
God.
you don't need to do it, but even if you did, like I bet you, if you just call through a bunch of schools or a bunch
Oh.
of communities, like
I know.
you could fill up your year and calendar, and
For
like,
sure.
you could be filled. So
For
that's
sure.
a whole other angle you.
We've
could attack
evolved
it with.
over time. We've
Yeah.
evolved.
Cool. So before all of that happened,
Yes.
because you're talking about like started from the bottom, now we're here problems. Now your problem is like up and
Correct.
down season, but you're up and running now. I'm saying before all that happened,
Yeah.
while the journey in the house, what were the tough times you remember that helped you get through? Like the times you said, I want to give up and just throw it all away.
You know, the truth is, and that's a good question, there is not a day that goes by where the thought goes through my mind, I might stop.
Yeah.
I think I want to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a lie. Like,
Yeah.
that's something that I think about every day
Uh-huh.
till this day. So as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that's the kind of struggle that you go through
Yeah.
that causes that thought process to come to your mind.
Yeah.
But what makes you keep going is
Yeah.
the fact that you realize, but I've put my heart and soul and energy and everything into this. There is no way in the world I would, you know, be able to stop or quit. You know,
Yeah.
it's so easy to quit.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people do it. A lot of people
Yeah.
quit because it's easy.
Yeah.
You can just stop everything and it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
But to keep going, those are the people who become successful. Those are the people who could make an impact on the world and make
Yeah.
a difference. It's the people who want to give up
Yeah.
but don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what gets me through that is the realization.
I think it's your purpose.
It's the purpose.
You're
of
deeply rooted into your
course.
purpose. So like when you want to quit, you think about your purpose and it's bigger than the bullshit that happens. So you just
And
keep
if I
going.
tell my customers that thought, they're like, don't even think about it. We will
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
Like, this is made for you.
Yeah.
Like, we want this. And people ask me all the time, you know, Z, how did you come up with this great idea of Zee the Cook? And I tell them, I say, I didn't come up with it. It came up with me. So I know it's my purpose in life. I know this is what I'm
Yeah.
meant to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I love it so much. It's like, it was meant for me. So I'm very blessed to say
And
the
when you
least.
say it came up with you, what do you mean by that?
it came into my life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, nursing, I went for it,
Yeah.
right? Working at United Airlines, I applied for that,
Yeah.
right? I went for things, but then all of a sudden something was just, it kind of came into my life, right? The silence, the quiet time at home, me cooking in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and then people saying, we want more from you.
Yeah.
When people started to say, we want more from you, I'm like, okay, I can give you more.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's more like serving others and helping others grow and helping others in positive ways.
Yeah.
And every time the business was growing, it wasn't a result of me wanting something. It was a result of my customers wanting something from me. So they would tell me, will you do a field trip? They would tell me, will you do a corporate team building event for my company?
Yeah.
So I started to learn and grow through my customers, and that's
Yeah.
why it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think I share a similar experience. I mean, I think like this whole shotcast thing just happened to me. The
Sure.
opportunity came to me. Like I didn't wake up
crazy.
one morning and say I want to do a
Right.
podcast and call it Shotcast and inspire the world.
Would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was seeking self-development myself. So I had 2 Jordanian partners I was telling you about that, you know, were in Miami, and they gave me a USB for Tony Robbins, and it changed my life. And then I got addicted to motivation. But after a while, it started getting repetitive. The people I was hearing, the same 4 or 5 main people were saying the same thing. So I said, you know what? I could inspire better, you know, or I can inspire myself. And then I started doing it myself. And then people started asking me for advice. And
There
then
we go.
somebody asked me, why don't we do a show together? You know, it was the leader, Andrew Lang, you know, the VP of Communications, who I've been doing the show with. And when we did that show, we got a lot of good feedback, like you did on the cooking. And that's where we started taking it, you know, step by step. But a lot of people, these opportunities come to them and they don't see them. They leave the door closed.
Correct.
Because, you know, some of them are not thinking, you know, as far as, you know, opportunities and being open-minded and just having that mindset. So I think it's very important that you said that the opportunity came to you. So I ask everybody listening, what opportunities are coming to you in your life? And are you even staying awake for them or alert to them, you know? We were talking in the studio before the show started about, we were asking each other, you know, why some people out there are not open to self-development or not open to, you know, growing, or if you show them this shotcast or you show them a nice inspirational video, they're not really interested in seeing it. And I was telling you that, I just think some people are content with where they are, and that's okay. And there's other people like me and you that we want to hit the sky. You know, the sky is the limit. We want to go there, and we're very ambitious. So
That's true.
I think it's important that we surround ourselves with those ambitious people so you can continue to grow, because if you surround yourself with 5 people that have no interest at all in self-development, you're going to end up not having any interest in self-development at all.
That's true.
So have you had a good environment to keep you going throughout these last couple of years?
Oh yeah, I've made it a very, very big effort to be around people who are already winning, right? Who are already successful, people who are wiser than I am, right? So I can surround myself with their wisdom, their experiences. I'm sure that there are things they went through that I might be going through in that stage, and so they'd be able to guide me. And this great advice comes freely, you know, from people because they like, you know, you want to be around like-minded people who like to help others, people who like to motivate and inspire others. And you know what happens is when you help someone, I mean, you end up paying it forward. That person pays it forward, right? So I am a result of otherwise people who helped me. Now I'm helping other people.
Yep.
So it's a constant positive energy that keeps going around. And I think, you know, we were talking about the people who don't care for self-development, you know, because we are the way we are. We wish everyone could be that way, because we get so much fulfillment from it. But not everyone gets fulfilled by self-development. They're good with just doing their own thing, you know, something else.
At the same time, could you imagine how the world would be if everybody was like this?
No, exactly. So the world cannot all be Z and I like that.
There'd be a million Zee the Cooks. There'd be a million
that's
Shotcasts.
true.
So
That's true.
it's also good that, you know, you see yourself as one in the bunch that, you know,
I love helping others. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
I love being able to be an inspiration to others. And I forget that I am.
Yeah.
You know, people always say, Z, you inspired me to start this. I'm like, oh, I did?
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
like
good.
You don't naturally, you don't know until someone tells you. So it's really
that could be
nice.
another workshop you can make, you know, maybe
Yeah.
finding the kid's passion. Like I always say
Sure.
for like kids in school, like I read that, you know, if you just focus on, like, if school for kids was focusing on one passion and training them through it for 10 years,
Oh my God.
imagine what that would make them when they're 18, 19,
Sure.
instead of all the basics that really which of course I think it's
to
important
focus on their pros. What are they good at?
Correct.
Yeah.
I know the importance of the basics, but do we really use them right now? I mean, when everything's at the palm of your hands now, like the technology, like who's going to do a math problem and divide on a paper right now?
100%.
So I think that would be, you know, a good class that you could run yourself too. So what is your purpose and your vision? I never asked you.
So my purpose and my vision is to affect others in a positive way as much as possible. So I have a lot of positive energy that I have, and I need to share it with the world as much as I can. And what happens with me is I give, and then I have time to sit alone, recharge, and come back and give more. So because I feel like I have so much of it, and I do truly call it a gift, I have to share it with the world, you know? So overall, my mission is to help as many people as I can globally feel better about themselves, empower them, make them feel like they can also be future leaders, and they can be leaders themselves, and that they can reach whatever dreams they want, you know, so whatever they envision. So I really just want to spread that positivity as much as I could. And, you know, food is just, it's my tool, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's all about cooking classes. It's not.
Yeah.
That's my tool that I use, but my overall mission and my passion is to help improve relationships, team building, empowering others. That's my goal.
That's awesome.
Thank you so
and
much.
if you look like Zee the Cook, if you say in 10 years, in 2030, what does it look like if it had to be, you know, perfect picture you could paint right now?
Sure. Globally, for sure. I'd
Okay.
like to be in as many countries as I can with my brand, with my mission, and being able to work with big companies like Ford Motor Company a lot down the line in other countries around the world. And
Yeah.
in addition to that, with LinkedIn, Google, the Amazons of the world.
Yeah.
So, you know, being with the people who really want to make a huge impact on the world, I'd like to be aligned with them.
Awesome.
So that's where I see myself.
That's good.
Thank
That's
you.
good. Do you have time throughout the week where you rejuvenate, rest up, rethink
yeah.
everything that happened?
Yeah,
Do
I
you plan
force
that
it.
out?
I have
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I have to. You know, there's times where I go like full force and I'm all action, and that's maybe like 2 weeks of full force, full action.
Yeah.
And then I know to like take a day or two off.
Yeah.
But now lately, I've learned how to actually balance and incorporate a little bit of my me time each day.
Cool.
Instead of like, you know, burning myself out and then
Yeah.
having to relax. And then it's so hard to get back into the grind, right?
Yeah.
When you take a break.
Yeah.
So for me, in the middle of the day, I do give myself like a nice full hour
Cool.
to just kind of reflect.
Yeah, and it's important to know that people like me and you, we also get into slumps. You said that you were listening to the Shotcast
Oh my
about getting
God,
into
your
a slump.
Shotcast. If
Yeah.
anyone is, please, all of you who are watching, watch his great Shotcasts on the slump and so many
Yeah.
other great, all of your
Yeah.
Shotcasts are
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you for that. But, you know, I was listening to the one about being in the slump, and I think most entrepreneurs, most business owners, and most people who are very hardworking, they surprise themselves because all of a sudden a day comes where they're like, I'm not feeling it. I am
Yeah.
not feeling anything, right? I am not me.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like myself. What the hell
Yeah.
is going on?
Yep.
And it's not easy to get out of it because you're not always surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
You might be surrounded by people who are too comfortable in their own lives,
Yeah.
right? And it's not a good thing for us.
Yeah.
So when you get into the slump, you know, what I took away from that Shotcast is that you have to surround yourself in nature.
Yeah.
You have to get out of your environment,
Yeah.
find a new environment to surround
Yeah.
yourself with, right? Like a vacation or just
Yeah.
even going, you know, down into the woods and taking a walk
Which
or a
is
bike
crazy
ride.
because you found your passion while you were on a vacation or a break.
Yeah, I was
That's
on a
when
break.
It came up, which
exactly.
Is, yeah.
And, you know, that's the best way to wake up again and come back powerful and strong.
Cool. So any other adversity that you went through or any other things you could think of that you think was just like a learning experience for you, was like an aha moment, like, wow, I got through this? Anything else you could think of?
You know, aha moments, they come and they go. I constantly have a feeling in my life that everything is, you know, there's more for me out there, and everything is leading up to that.
It's a dangerous feeling.
And it feels exciting, and I feel like I always say I'm ready for it. It's coming, and I'm getting ready for it. You know, so I constantly am getting ready for something bigger and better.
So you're ambitious. I feel like you're just like me, maybe a female version. If there was one.
There you go.
So were you always like this? I know you're working since you were 14. Do you
Yeah.
think it comes from like naturally, like was it from the way you were raised?
Sure.
Did you come up hard? Were things easy for you growing up? Do you think any of that relates to what's going on now?
You know, I've always been my own person. My parents never pressured me to be a certain way. Never. You know, they've never pressured me about school. They've never pressured me about work. They've just kind of been the parents who want to, you know, raise their kids in a disciplinary way and in a right way. But I was always me, and I was always more of like that free spirit, free thinker, sometimes a rule breaker, you know, the middle child, kind of the wild child. And that was me, and that's still me. I mean, I like breaking the rules. I like testing things and challenging the rules and challenging like concepts and doing things my way. So I've always been that person, and I think that's what got me to where I am right now. Is just constantly having that feeling, the hunger for more, the hunger for discovery.
Any advice for people that have passions that don't pursue them, that are not happy with their lives right now?
They have to. If you're a passionate person, I mean, it will go either amazing or very bad. It's one or the other, right? When you're a passionate person, you're enthusiastic, you have a life about you, it's really, really important that you seek your potential. You understand. You're aware that you have the potential to do something so good with it. And to do good with your passion. Because it could go the complete opposite way. You might get into drugs. You might get into, you know, becoming an alcoholic or hanging around the wrong people, the wrong crowds. So passion can go two ways, either a very amazing way where you're getting awarded and rewards and growth, or the opposite end. So I highly recommend that people continuously, you know, stay surrounded by the right people who are like-minded people, who you connect with, who you feel like that's your family, and not by blood, but by energy, you know, by passion. And, you know, I think that's the best thing that a person can do for themselves.
Awesome. So thanks again for coming on the show. This is Zee the Cook. She's started from the bottom. Now she's here, CEO. She's running a big business now, big following, and she's doing great things. So this show's called Shotcast. We have to end it with 2 shots of inspiration.
Sure.
Okay, something that the audience listening could take a shot of in the wrist, walk away, and just be inspired. So why don't you start off with your shot?
Sure. So my shot would be to pursue something that you love, that you're good at, because you will never feel like it's work. And as many times or as much as you do it, you'll always feel empowered, and you'll feel like you're giving back to the world, which is what we're all here for, to do, to make this world a better place. So definitely let your heart and your mind and your instincts guide you, and don't do anything you don't like. If you don't like something, don't bother wasting your time or energy doing it, because it's really not going to pay off for anyone. Because if you're not happy, nobody around you is going to be happy, right? So at the end of the day, I highly recommend to women, teenagers, kids, men, anybody, do not focus on or do things that you're not happy doing, because life is too short, and it's really important to focus on what you're good at.
Great. That's a good shot. My shot would be, I'm going to take the shot that you were talking about earlier, which is surrounding yourself with people that are as passionate as you. I think it's important as you watch or listen to this show that I reached out to Zee the Cook, okay? I reached out to her because I said, who do I know that's on a path similar to me, that's doing well in life, that I could learn from, that I could grow with, that, you know, that's taking advantage of the opportunity. And I thought of you, and I brought you here. And we were talking in the garage, you know, how we're going to keep each other in each other's network and just make sure that we hold each other accountable to growing both of our channels. And I think it's important for you out there. It's hard to focus on your passion or do what you're saying if you're surrounded by people who are not passionate or not doing anything in their life except working.
It's not easy.
So I would ask you, find somebody who is pursuing a passion. It doesn't have to be a passion that you're doing, but find somebody who's pursuing some kind of passion, who's confident, who you say, man, I want to be just like this person. Reach out to them, put them in your network, or get advice from them, and try to surround yourself with these people as much as possible, especially when you're pursuing your own passion, so you have some people to drive you in your circle. And I think that's huge, especially when you're trying to pursue a passion. And that's my shot to you. This Shotcast episode 11. Thank you for tuning in. For you,
thank you.
If anybody has any kids out there, if you're a staff part of a company, what else do we got? Catering. If you need any catering, you're going to reach out to Zee the Cook. Her link's going to be in the bio on the bottom. Her phone number is going to be down there as well. So make sure you reach out. Spread the content with anybody you love. We're doing this for you. I know it's not a funny meme. It's not a funny video you could spread around or a song, but this is something that you could listen to and actually walk away with life with something that's going to help you move forward. So thank you for tuning in.
Thanks,
it's been a great
guys.
episode.
Thank you.
Zee, thank you for coming.
Ali. Thank you so much.
Thank you.